All right, this story is going to be very difficult to sit through because there's a lot of emotional pain here, and it has to deal with student loan debt. The student loan debt crisis is getting out of hand, and right now we are witnessing firsthand, America's debt crisis. Okay, now, first and foremost, I want to pull up this article, and then I'm going to be playing a video too, a couple of videos. Some very strong emotional videos. So, record surge in past due student loans adds to U.S. debt burden. This came out on August 5th. The share of U.S. consumer debt is in serious delinquency rose in the second quarter to the highest level since early 2020, reflecting a record surge in past due student loan debt. Some 3% of the debt was at least 90 days delinquent in the April to June period, up from 2.8% in the first 3 months of the year. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York said Tuesday in its quarterly report on household debt and credit. The share of student loan debt entering serious delinquency was 12.9%, the highest in 21 years of data. The rise of delinquency suggests American households are facing increasing financial stress this year amid high interest rates and slowdown in hiring. Recent data showed consumer spending fell in the first 6 months of 2025, even before tariffs started to boost prices. This quarter flows of household debt into serious delinquency was mixed across debt types, with credit card, auto loans holding steady. Student loans continue to rise and mortgages edging up slightly. Overall, household debt increased by $185 billion in the second quarter to $18.4 trillion, according to the report, bringing aggregate debt balances 30% higher than where they were before the pandemic. For comparison, the U.S. gross domestic product has risen 38% over the same period. So I'm going to just say something. How about a full-on debt jubilee? All right, because when I see stuff like this, and yes, it's being shared on social media, it brings pain. Lots of it.
So as it turns out, the student loans that I've been paying $1,500 a month for 2 years have a 17% interest rate. So what I thought I've been paying off for all this time, I'm actually, I owe more than what I started off with. What the fuck? So, Jeff Bezos, this would be a really cool fucking time to Venmo me, bro. I owe $90,000, and I didn't even spend that much on school. Any rich person, please tap in. Kourtney Kardashian, you probably have 8 houses. I'm never gonna be able to buy one because I went to college. I just signed up to be an egg donor. Guess what? Got approved. Who wants my fucking kids? I can't afford them, so start a bidding more. Just fucking take them. What do you want? My left arm too? What the fuck am I supposed to do? I'm gonna be in debt for my whole fucking life. How does that even make sense? I signed up for this shit when I was 17. This should not be legal, bro.
I want to pause here for a second. I know people in this situation, some with even higher debt. Now, I went to college. I had the GI Bill and the Illinois State Veterans Grant helping me out. Now that I reflect on it, college was an experience. I really enjoyed it. It brought some peace to my mind, and it challenged me in ways academically, and I really enjoyed my college life. But what hurt me was when I was speaking to some of my college friends and how they were facing off with student debt. And I will say this. I am for higher academic learning, but not here in the United States. And it is all of our responsibility right now to steer the next generation away from debt slavery, from the college industrial complex that keeps us in debt slavery. That means, look, if someone's got a full-on scholarship to go to one of these universities, fine, write it. If you're going to walk out debt-free, you better have your head in those books and not your head anywhere else, okay? No pun intended. Look at going to community college or to a trade school or an apprenticeship program. Or if you really want the full academic privilege, it might take you a couple of years or a year or so, give or take. Go overseas where education is free. Steer people away from this debt crisis. That's the only way we could save people now. It might be too late for majority of us, but it's not too late to save the next generation. College is a place where you go into debt slavery. I know people are saying, well, that's how you get a higher education. Look, they're replacing people's jobs with AI. People got to be creative now. All right. There you go. Just throwing it out there.
I got upset about it at work, and my coworker was like, "Don't you have like a rich relative who can pay that for you?" No, my family's poor. Like, no. And the worst fucking part is, bro, look where I am. Like, I can't go in because I can't spend money, but I just want to like be here because it makes me feel better.
Look, and the thing is, I know there's people out there laughing and making fun of her. I'm not. I know people who are in a worse situation than her. Okay? And people who are very smart and actually have the job that they want. Actually, but will be stuck for a good portion of the next 20, 25, 30 years of their life paying off that debt. Save the next generation. Do not go into college here in America. Save them from debt. Save them from debt. I know. And it's not you crapping on their dream. You're not destroying their dream. You're saving their life. You're saving their life. You're saving their goddamn life. Now, if you're a young person, you want to go to college, I will not roadblock you. I will not stop you, but I will give you this warning. Do not go to a university here in America. Unless you got a full-on scholarship and you're going to walk out debt-free, don't do it. Don't do it. Community college, trade school, or go overseas. All right? Now, is that the traditional method that high society, that the media tells you about? No. But you'll be free. You'll be free. And what's better to enjoy life than be free? Be free. I want to pull up this other video here.
So you mean to tell me that the government can wipe the student debt for new ICE members, but not the nurses and the healthcare professionals that took care of your loved ones during the pandemic? We held your loved ones' hands during their last breath. We reused masks because we didn't have enough. We worked short-staffed. We became burnt out, most times while being underpaid. But we can give new ICE members student debt forgiveness from the government to tear families apart, to break families up. But we can't also give student debt forgiveness to the healthcare workers from the pandemic. 5 years ago, you guys complained that you couldn't breathe in a mask. Now you're wearing one willingly while you break into people's homes, a lot of times illegally. Make it make sense.
Got another one here too.
I'd like to know what type of crack Sally Mae is smoking that they think for the amount of $40,922, they should receive back $118,305.59. Well, I understand that this is an estimated cost. The fact that for financing the money, they want $77,383.59 is asinine. Now, back in my day when I was in college, I don't even think I paid that much for the 4 years I went to school. So to think they should get that for 1 year of schooling is insane. And I get it. If this is the fixed interest rate, 13.500%, and then the APR is 13.474%. But then they got the audacity to tell me that to finance this $40,922, they should receive $77,303.59 is the most SMD.
Yep. And I also want to pull up something else here too, because I just want to say something. You will own nothing and be happy. You will be in debt forever and be happy. You will not challenge the system as is and be happy. You will be told to shut up, shut up, shut up. That's what they want you to do. They want you to shut up. Shut up. Just shut up. Don't challenge a gosh darn thing. Don't you speak out against anything. You just need to shut up. Just shut up. Even though, hey, Wall Street and the big banks got to bail out. We got money for war. We just can't do a debt jubilee for the people. I mean, at this point, yes, a debt jubilee. Otherwise, home ownership, an American myth. Going to college to improve yourself, an American myth. Not a legend, not a story, not a dream. It'll be a myth. Like Hercules fighting the Hydra, Jason and the Argonauts. I mean, my goodness. Perseus, the Clash of the Titans. What are we to do? What are we to do? What are we to do? I want to pull up this video here. Just want to pull up this video here.
Millions of Americans are on the brink of default.
Now, just to be clear, this video came out July 9th, 2025. So it's like a month old, but just hear me out.
On their student loans. A new analysis by TransUnion found that 5.8 million student borrowers, representing 31% of all federal student loans, are in late-stage delinquency, meaning they haven't made a single payment in 90 days. TransUnion estimated that by July, i.e. now, up to 1.8 million of these borrowers could enter default status, meaning they'll have missed 270 days of payments. In August, an additional 1 million could reach default status, and by September, another 2 million. In fact, TransUnion stated that the rate of delinquency they recorded is the highest level of delinquency they've seen since they started collecting this data back in 2012. But it's not just student loans. Late payments on car loans also recently hit a 30-year record. U.S. credit card debt is also hitting record highs. Americans are also increasingly relying on microloan schemes like buy now, pay later services, which allow people to take out loans to buy things that usually didn't take borrowed money to afford. These buy now, pay later schemes made headlines when some companies advertised that users could get a loan to buy a meal at Chipotle. Surveys show that up to 1 in 4 Americans are using buy now, pay later schemes to buy groceries. 41% of respondents in that survey said they had made at least one late payment on a buy now, pay later loan in the past year. U.S. household debt itself has actually hit its highest level ever. And all this really just points to one simple fact. American workers are being stretched thinner than ever, and they're borrowing money to make ends meet.
I just want to throw this out here. And again, look, it's not a fair comparison, and I am definitely missing some steps here. But, even the ancient Romans, at least during the Julian-Claudian dynasty, right? Caesar and Augustus, for example, they were very fair to the Roman people, at least the people of Rome, I mean, again, let's be clear. The empire was a very horrific, brutal state, but it was the most advanced for its time. But even then in antiquity, man, yes, people got screwed over, but not this bad. Holy cow. And a global superpower, the richest country in human history, United States, and we can't take care of our people, and our people are in debt. It's all going to come crashing down. And let me just say this to these world economic or globalist people who want to control everything. Listen, you might succeed in some portions, but remember, people can easily snap. You can't make everyone comply. And sooner or later, every grasp of control, you lose it. I mean, look, you had your little fun and games, but sooner or later, listen, to you rich people who don't know about real struggle, who are implementing these laws and buying off our politicians, you don't know desperate. Because somewhere out there is a person who's very, very, very tired, very sad, and very angry. Somewhere out there are other people just like this said person who's very tired, very sad, and very angry. And all it takes is one bad day and I'm not telling you to pay attention to the Russian Revolution, what happened to the Tsar and his family. I'm not telling you to pay attention to what happened to the French royalty, what happened to Marie Antoinette, which, by the way, she never said let them eat cake, but still, when things get really bad, you might have some control and power, but eventually, when you turn your own people into the enemy, I mean, even then, soldiers will have a hard time following orders. Everyone's going to have a hard time. So you can avoid all this, do a debt jubilee. History doesn't need to repeat itself, but it seems like every time an empire starts with a rise, ends with a crashing fall, it's because when the people lose faith in the nation. When the people lose faith in a nation. Okay? Just throwing it out there. When the people lose faith in a nation, bad things can happen. And to you politicians, Donald Trump, everybody, you can avoid all this pain if we're able to crap out money for war. All right? You could pardon the American people's debt. Right? Come on, money printer, go brrrr. Or not. Hey, history can repeat itself. But you know what comes next will be on the rulers, okay? Because imagine for a moment there's a father seeing their child sick because they can't afford to buy medicine. Imagine a mother looking at her starving kids because, oh my goodness, they have to share like a week's worth of groceries. Imagine a caretaker seeing their elderly grandparent suffer because they can't get proper treatment. Imagine the fear looking at the table, looking at these bills rise up. It gets to the point where somebody says, enough is enough. I'm just throwing it out there. It could all be avoided. It could all be over. It could all end. And everyone can live a beautiful life if they choose to. But perhaps I'm a dreamer. That's my problem. I dream too much, but whatever.